A black family adopted a white girl, and 20 years later, the incredible happened. The Anderson family was known for their warmth and generosity. They already had 4 children, and there was always laughter, love, and a feeling of abundance in their home. They loved spending time together. Family dinners were sacred, camping trips were frequent, and holidays were filled with joy. There was a simple rule in the Anderson household. If you have love, you share it. It was during one of their family discussions about the future that they decided to adopt a child. They knew they had more love to give, and they wanted to share it with a child who needed a home. After much thought and research, the Andersons were drawn to a white-skinned little girl named Grace, who lived at a local orphanage. Grace had spent 2 years in the orphanage after losing her parents in a tragic accident. She was a quiet girl with a gentle smile and curious eyes, often lost in thought as she dreamed of finding a place where she truly belonged. The day she met the Anderson family, something clicked. As soon as she saw them, a tall, smiling couple and 4 beaming children, she felt her heart swell with something she had almost forgotten. She felt like maybe, just maybe, this was the family she'd been waiting for. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe, hit the like button, and click the notification bell for more amazing stories. The Andersons welcomed Grace with open arms. They took their time introducing her to her new home, explaining every corner of the house, showing her the garden where they had planted flowers together, and the living room where they spent their Sunday nights watching movies. They even had a small welcome party, just family, to celebrate Grace's arrival. Each of the Anderson children gave her a handmade card, promising to be the best siblings she could ever ask for. Grace couldn't hold back her tears that day. For the first time in a long time, she felt like she truly belonged. Grace became the 5th child in the Anderson family. Adjusting to her new life came with its challenges. There were times when Grace felt overwhelmed, unsure of her place in this vibrant and loving home. But the Andersons were always there to reassure her, to hold her when she cried, and to remind her that she was part of their family now, no matter what. Her siblings, especially her closest in age, Maya, made sure Grace never felt alone. They played together, did homework side by side, and whispered secrets late into the night. The Anderson home became Grace's haven, a place where she was safe, loved, and encouraged to dream. As the years went by, Grace grew into a confident young woman. She excelled in school and discovered a passion for science. She decided that she wanted to become a doctor, a dream inspired by the compassion she received from the Andersons. She wanted to help others, just like they had helped her. The Andersons cheered her on every step of the way. When Grace was accepted into a prestigious medical school, the entire family celebrated. Her parents beamed with pride, and her siblings threw her a surprise party. To them, Grace's success was a family success, an embodiment of the love and support they had poured into each other over the years. But life, as it often does, threw an unexpected challenge their way. 20 years after Grace first joined the Anderson family, her adoptive father, James, fell seriously ill. The doctors diagnosed him with kidney failure, and he would need a transplant to survive. The news shook the entire family. James had always been their rock, the one who held everything together with his strength and kindness. Seeing him weak and in pain was unbearable for Grace. She knew she had to do something. Without a second thought, she volunteered to be tested as a potential donor. The days leading up to the test results were filled with anxiety. Grace remembered the sleepless nights she spent by her father's side, holding his hand, praying silently that she could help him. When the results finally came in, it was revealed that she was a match. Tears of relief filled her eyes as she hugged her mother, who'd been trying so hard to stay strong through it all. Grace knew that this was her chance to give back a fraction of the love that the Andersons had given her. The day of the surgery arrived, and the entire family gathered at the hospital. Grace's siblings, now all grown up, were there, holding her hands, reassuring her, just as she had reassured them countless times throughout their lives. James looked at his daughter with tears in his eyes. "You don't have to do this, Grace," he whispered, his voice cracking with emotion. But Grace just smiled. "You gave me a life, Dad. Now it's my turn to help you keep yours." The surgery was a success. James recovered well, and Grace was back on her feet sooner than anyone expected. The experience brought the family even closer together. Grace realized the depth of her love for her family and how each moment they shared had shaped her into who she was. It wasn't just about saving her father's life. It was about giving back a part of the love and support that had been her foundation for so many years. A few months after the surgery, the Anderson family gathered to celebrate James' recovery. It was a simple get-together in their backyard, the same backyard where Grace had played as a child, where she had learned to ride a bike, and where she had spent countless summer evenings with her family. As they sat down for dinner, Grace stood up, her heart overflowing with gratitude, and gently tapped her glass to get everyone's attention. "I just want to say something," she began, her voice steady but filled with emotion. "I want to thank Mom and Dad for everything they've done for me. You took me in when I had no one. You gave me a home, a family, and a chance to dream again. You showed me what love really means, that it's not about blood, but about the bonds we choose to create." She paused, looking at her father, whose eyes were glistening with tears. "Dad, you've always been my hero, and being able to help you, even in a small way, is the greatest honor of my life. I love you all more than words can say." There wasn't a dry eye around the table. The Andersons had always known they were lucky to have Grace, but in that moment, they realized just how deeply their lives had been enriched by her presence. James stood up, his voice breaking as he spoke. "Grace, you may not have been born into this family, but you've always been a part of us. You've given us more than we could ever ask for, and we're so incredibly proud of you." The family embraced the love they shared, palpable. It was a love that had weathered storms, faced challenges, and come out stronger on the other side. Grace knew that her journey was never just her own. It was about the family who had believed in her, stood by her side, and loved her unconditionally through every challenge. Grace pursued her passion for medicine and eventually became a doctor. She chose to specialize in pediatrics, driven by a desire to bring hope and comfort to children who, like her younger self, needed someone to believe in them. She often thought of her father during her long shifts at the hospital, of his strength, his kindness, and the way he had always put his family first. She wanted to be that kind of person for her patients, to give them a sense of comfort and safety, even in the most difficult times. One day, years after the surgery, Grace received an invitation to speak at a community event, sharing her experiences about adoption, family, and the transformative power of love. She was nervous, but also excited. She knew she had a story to tell, not just her story, but the story of the Andersons, of how love could transcend all barriers, of how a family could be built, not just by blood, but by the bonds of the heart. Standing on stage, Grace looked out at the audience, her heart swelling with gratitude. "I was adopted by a family who didn't look like me," she began, "but they loved me more than I ever thought possible. They taught me that family is about more than shared genes. It's about shared love, shared dreams, and being there for each other no matter what. My father once told me that the greatest thing you can do in life is to share your love with others. And that's what they did for me. They shared their love, and it changed my life." As Grace finished her speech, the audience rose to their feet in applause. She saw her parents in the front row, her mother wiping away tears, her father smiling proudly. In that moment, Grace knew that everything she had gone through, every challenge, every triumph, had led her to this point. It was all because of the love of a family who had opened their hearts and home to a little girl who needed them. The Andersons continued to create memories, each moment a testament to the resilience of love and the unbreakable bond of family. They knew that their story was one of hope, of resilience, and of the incredible things that could happen when you open your heart to someone in need. And Grace, with her parents by her side, continued to live a life that honored the love that had brought them all together. A black family adopted a white girl, and 20 years later, the incredible happened. Binding bonds through beautiful tales. Thank you for watching.